Good day, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to embarrass the shit out of Alaska State Trooper Joeseph Miller, Jr. This low-life window licker, for those of you who don't know, is the one who beat me into this fine wheelchair. Well, I guess I can't show it to you. But he did. He and his buddy Brian Glenn. Now, just to show you how these two had everything planned out here. Now, Joeseph Miller is supervisor for Brian Glenn, and he's there to teach Brian Glenn what to do and what not to do. So here's the first 20 seconds of the recording. As you can tell, there's some before it, but they deleted that, so we won't even go into that. But you can tell from this recording that it did not matter what I said, they weren't going to believe me, and they were going to escalate it. So what's this?
I'm not asking.
What am I being charged with?
Right now, you're not being charged with anything. Right now, I'm just talking to you, okay? Right now, it sounds to me like you're lying to me, okay?
I give you my name and address.
Okay. Oh, some people are just walking down the street.
So there you go. I'm not charged with a crime. They demanded my driver's license, but they wouldn't accept an ID. They kept on demanding my driver's license, and this is where it went.
I'm not asking.
See there, I'm not asking, I'm telling. I'm telling.
What am I being charged with?
Right now, you're not being charged with anything. Right now, I'm just talking to you, okay?
All right, there is no suspicion of my committing a crime, having committed a crime, or am I about to commit a crime. He has no right or reason to even ask me for ID.
Okay. Right now, it sounds to me like you're lying to me, okay?
I give you my name and address.
Okay. Oh, some people are just walking down the street, you know, giving me a ride, except that there's nobody walking down the street.
Yeah, actually there was somebody walking down the street. He passed them up. Now, you think that's bad enough? Now here's Joeseph, that was Brian Glenn. Now here's Brian Glenn going to Joeseph Miller. Now Brian Glenn knows that they have to send me in and get a medical clearance because of my injuries. Okay? Now, they know I can't walk. Okay. And I think it's pretty obvious, yeah, I got a broken neck. Now, Brian Glenn knows this, and he goes to Joeseph Miller. He's a sergeant. Now, he's been in here over 20 years. He's going on damn near 30 years in the troopers. Pretty much his entire work career has been in the troopers. But we'll get to that. But he's only a sergeant. Okay. Now we'll get into his career in a minute. He is a sergeant, and he's instructing Brian Glenn. Brian Glenn's just out of trooper training school. And he's talking. Brian Glenn tells him we need to send him into the hospital, have him checked out. And then Joeseph Miller's going to say, why? It's just a fucking nosebleed. And Brian Glenn says, well, you know, state regulations, and then it cuts off. So, not only did Brian Glenn know it, he reminded Joeseph Miller of it, and Joeseph Miller did not correct himself, despite knowing that he was doing wrong. He went back to the ambulance and told him not to take me to the hospital. So here you go, listen to this. Well, come
Do they have the ability to... No, I got taken down to the hospital, get that clear, huh?
No,
No.
not necessarily.
Right.
What's wrong with it? Got a little freaking nosebleed? Gives a shit.
Well, I
make it clear here.
Okay, cool. I was just wondering, because like when the one at the lawn out in the Sterling.
Man, that's hard to listen to. Listen to that again.
Do they have the ability to... No, I got taken down to the hospital, get that clear, huh?
No,
No.
not necessarily.
Right.
What's wrong with it? Got a little freaking nosebleed? Gives a shit.
Well, I
make it clear here.
Okay, cool. I was just wondering, because like when the one at the lawn out in the Sterling.
See, now that's the kind of person Joeseph Lee Miller is. Now, this piece of shit Joeseph Miller, he knew that I was injured. He knows that it's, I think he said it was a state law, it's definitely at least a regulation, that I'd be taken in for medical clearance if I was not given one. Because they didn't give me that medical clearance to report it. I had seizures in the hospital twice in one day. The hospital didn't know I had a brain damage or that I'd been breathing, or that I was partially paralyzed below the waist. Joeseph Lee Miller said it's a friggin' nosebleed. Well, right there is a hospital bed. Right here is a wheelchair. I could have been helped. It might not have been near as bad. Everything could have been minimized. In fact, if you're listening to my first video after I was beaten, 4 days afterwards, I wasn't too bad off. But without treatment, and not stopping it, it got worse. And finally, after 2.5 years, I was able to get it across the doctors. I wasn't just getting old. I actually did have a head injury. After 2.5 years, they said, all right, well, we're going to give you some physical therapy. Please have somebody out there that's into physical therapy come in here and comment how much good physical therapy is going to do after 2.5 years. Yeah. Nothing. I mean, they wouldn't come in. I mean, they came in like for 1 or 2 times, and just look here's the exercises. Do these every day. I do them like 6 or 7 times a day. But don't expect anything. I'm not. And after 3 years, or now after 6 months now, if anything, there's been a decline rather than anything being better. So, my window licker Joeseph Miller. Now, part of being a trooper now, he's always required to be strapped. For those of you who don't know, that means you mean to be armed. Now, Joeseph Miller, now he got his strap on all the time. Now his wife Sarah, she got her strap on too. Yeah. Now, put lipstick on a pig, and you got Alaska State Trooper. You take Alaska State Trooper and you bend him over and you lube him up, and you got Joeseph Miller and his wife with her strap on. Now, for any of you criminals out there that want to buy an Alaska State Trooper. Joeseph Lee Miller Jr. He's somebody you want to think about. See, he's got numerous default judgments against him for $800-900, $16,000. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them in there. So his credit history is crap. The only reason he's got the house he has now is because his wife Sarah's got some money. Because his credit history's crap. So you want to know of a cop that's out there that can be bought? Joeseph Lee Miller. And not only that, nearly 30 years and just a sergeant. He got a pretty crappy record already, and I can vouch for the fact that he has no regard for the law. He sure as hell ain't gonna get no raises or promotions. Near 30 years, he's still a sergeant. Ain't the military up here, they go pistol no striper like Brian Glenn. The only one step above that is a sergeant like Joeseph Miller, where you stay like forever until you get promoted up to lieutenant. Nothing in between there, up to lieutenant. Now, way back when Joeseph Lee Miller was a lieutenant, now never mind, oh my God, brain damage. Way back in ancient history, back when Joeseph Lee Miller Jr. was a sergeant, there was another sergeant there, Sergeant Michael Zweifeld. If I remember right, Joeseph Lee Miller was a sergeant already when Michael Zweifeld became a sergeant. Michael Zweifeld was a lieutenant at the time of my beating. And was doing such a good job of covering it up until it was too late for me to get any legal help in a lawsuit. Statute of limitations, that is. Why, they done such a good job of that. They promoted him up to captain. They had plenty of other lieutenants in the state. They chose him to make a captain. Now both Michael Zweifel and Joeseph Miller were on that, was it A&E, Alaska State Troopers program, where it makes the Alaska State Troopers like the good guys, instead of like the Russians who tied up the natives and one in front of the other in front of a cannon, fired off a cannonball through them all. Yeah. Yeah, let's get troopers a bunch of crap. Bunch of criminals. Bunch of illiterates, criminals. As the Alaska State Trooper would have said. So he got no credit. Loses his job here. He's not going to be able to make a house payment. He's going to lose his home. He's just going to have to go down to lower 48 to get a job. Run his ass out of the state. So if y'all live up here in Alaska, oh yeah, Joeseph Lee Miller and his wife Sarah, they go to church here in Soldotna or Kenai. I can't remember. They give the impression that they're Christians. What kind of Christian doesn't pay his bills when they're making $100K a year? Yeah, you're making over $100K a year. You have to look up, find out what that rooster sucker is making a year. But I bet it's over $100K a year. Like I say, you're going on 30 years. I'm going to check, see how much he's making. But we know it's over 100K. Now, if you're making over 100K a year, you got one house that's paid for. Why ain't you got what else you spending your money on? Now, I'm trying to think, is he the one? You know what? I believe I'm wrong here. I believe he owns 2 houses. Yeah. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Now he and Michael's wife was sergeants together. They was working out in the remote villages together, or separately. And you go out there now, just a couple of years ago, as two troopers went out in the remote villages there to arrest some guy, and his 18-year-old son snuck out the back door. And up here, you learn to be a good shot at early age when you live out in remote villages and living off the land. An 18-year-old kid popped them two rooster suckers in the head. Now, out there in the villages, they don't like the troopers. So when the troopers go out there and they go out to arrest somebody, they go to your house, they sit there and they talk to you for a long time until you're ready to walk out there to that airplane. There ain't no roads going to some of these places. Until you're ready to walk out there to that airplane without handcuffs. They don't want to handcuff you until you get to that airplane. So they sees somebody in handcuffs, they thinking they ain't going willingly. Be two more down. You always take two for remote villages. But now we got information, like I've said before, we got information there's somebody in the troopers that pass on down some information. Now I'm not always privileged to all the information that people gather. I could if I wanted to, but I don't want to. But man, where's that going? This is what brain damage does when you don't get any treatment for it. To that rooster sucker. So the mill wouldn't let me have any medical care that night. Wasn't going to cost him anything. He wasn't going to bill me for it. It cost him a dime. He knew it was required because Brian Glenn reminded him. You saw that audio in there? Yeah, that's just some of the stuff that they didn't edit out. Joeseph Miller, he's not just heartless. He's bloodthirsty. He likes to see people scream in pain. Now, he and Brian Glenn beat another fellow named David Darden. Beat and tased him. An old Joeseph Miller knew that David Garden was going to be going into court one morning. So he sat there at the gas station waiting for David Garden's car to go by. He was going to start there and escalate things. And lo and behold, on the way to court, David Darden and his girlfriend, David wasn't driving, his girlfriend was, they dropped in the same gas station there. And Joeseph Miller comes in, starts raising hell with David Darden. So they only released about 15 seconds of David Darden's experience. That's how bad his was. But this guy's already severely handicapped. So David tries to leave. He goes out to his car. Joeseph Miller follows him out to the car. You know, when his girlfriend vows, he tries to back away. As he gets out to the end of the road, edge of the road, the edge of the highway, at night, he tases David Darden. He falls in the highway. Joeseph Miller just lays there, keeps tasing him every time he tries to get out. Several cars just barely miss his head. Every time he tries to get out, Joeseph Miller tases him. Joeseph Miller's he's a vicious, conniving, murdering son of a slut. Now we haven't these troopers, they don't want to let go of any what do you call it? Any records on these pieces of shit. But there's other ways to find stuff out. Sooner or later, we're going to get a hold of Joeseph Miller's what do you call it, correctional record, disciplinary record. The way to do, I'm going to put it up there. But it's good church-going Christian. It beats 72-year-old handicapped person. denies him medical care. Now, just before Brian Glenn goes up to him to ask him about that in the video, you can hear Joeseph Miller talking with somebody else there. I'm pretty sure, what's his name? It's the brother-in-law of Homer Cop. Something Lee, Richard Lee, Joseph Lee. Well, everybody in that house is related to Homer Cop, something Lee. If you search for Homer Cop and Lakeisha Lee, that's her name, you'll find a picture of her and his name up there on the internet. He's taught his wife well. He's taught her how to lie and file out a false police report. So I guess that's kind of what we know about Joeseph Miller right now. Well, I mean, that's far from what we know. And let people know all about who his family is, where they live, and all that crap. But there's a lot that people have found out about Joeseph Miller and his past. And we'll find out things on these cops all the time. So I guess that's gonna be about it. Y'all have a good one. If y'all run into Joeseph Miller at church, tell him you saw my video about him. Remind him it's on my YouTube channel. If you see Joeseph Miller's wife around town in the grocery store, tell her you saw the video about Joeseph Miller. So, anybody else out there that knows him, associates with him, knows of him, sees him on the street, tell him I said hi. And piss off, pig.